Hi, gang. It's Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. Hope everyone's doing well. And today I thought I would talk about some, I'll call them simple songs. As I often say, things that are simple are never easy, and things that are easy are never simple, or something like that. But simple songs from the Realbook. And the Realbook, everyone seems to have some form or another of Realbook today. When I was growing up, we had real books. Today there seems to be every iteration of Realbook, which is good in a way. There's all different, but so it's hard to know. It's hard to know what Realbook we're talking about, though, because if someone comes on a gig and brings their Realbook, well, who knows what's in it. Now, of course, no one brings a real book anymore because um, we all have digital stuff now. We have this iReal program which people use, which has like about 2,000 songs in it and about 100,000 wrong chords. There are really they're not good. Um, but there's a lot, and of course the iReal you can press a button and transpose to another key if you have a singer. And it's kind of nice, that's kind of nice. Excuse me, just a little sip of tea here. I get this white tea and also some what's called pour tea, Pur, it's pronounced pour tea, which is a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Fermented kind of a. They say black tea, red tea. They throw these words around, but and a little mixture I had from earlier today kind of gives me a little pick me up. Anyway, back to the real book. The real books kind of become infamous, at least when I was growing up, because it often had a lot of mistakes in it, and again, if we're dealing, typically we're dealing with jazz, so sometimes jazz is just a little hard to nail down. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. You might have five different iterations of the same tune, and people can get kind of persnickety about, what version of the tune you're playing, and so you kind of have to decide on that in advance. But if you open it up, it's at least 400 songs in it or something like that, and it can be kind of overwhelming. And frankly, they're hard. I mean, a lot of them are just pretty hard. But I'm going to try to pull out some of the ones that I think are much more approachable. And in the process, also, you kind of learn the names of various composers and of some of these tunes. And I'll also talk a little bit about just compositionally, what makes the song a song? What makes a song a song? People throw that word around a lot. Song. I wrote a song, and it sounds like something, a noise that their lawnmower made or something. I don't know. To me, play a little word association game. Play a word association game. If you say song, what do you think of? What's the first thing you think of, class? The first thing I think of actually is not so much the melody, although that might be something that would come to mind, but the package, how it's packaged, the form of the tune. So the word form meaning the structure of the song, how many measures constitute the song and why. Typically, a lot of the songs we deal with in jazz are 32 bar tunes. And, the word jazz means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and that's fine, as well it should. But, in terms of just the music that one would ordinarily associate with jazz, that you'd learn, the repertoire, in general, music from about the 1920s to about the 1950s, and usually written by prominent composers, very often Broadway show composers like George Gershwin and his brother Ira Gershwin, or Cole Porter, or Richard Rodgers and either Oscar Hammerstein or Larry Hart, or Jerome Kern. though that kind of makes up the bulk of the Irving Berlin would be another one. And I don't think, every generation has its own music, and as good as those songs are, things go in and out of fashion. And you'd like to think, well, yeah, but why should they go out of fashion? They're good songs. Well, they do. They just do. They kind of leave the consciousness. And so we learn, we play other music, I guess. But I'll try to talk about, what constitutes a song, and the fact that, you have musical phrases. Typically, they're 2 or 4 or 8 bar phrases. 2 would be, let's say, a segment. 4 would be a phrase. The word phrase can mean something specific and something more general, but phrase specifically meaning 4 bars. In general, it could mean a multiple of that, 8 bars, or even 16, I suppose. And then what some people call a period, which is 8 bars, and it's referred to as a period because usually that's the complete phrase. Yeah, so let's kind of dive in here, and I'll play through a few things. Here's one of the first. I'm going alphabetically because why not? And actually, before I do that, let me just make sure you can see me. There's a little list I just wrote for these tunes, and the first tune is a Mongo Santa Maria tune called Afro Blue, and it has kind of a Spanish sound to it. The key signature is 4 flats, which would indicate at the key of F minor. Relative major is A flat major. Now, if I play all the notes, that's natural minor. That's the Aeolian mode. A minor typically has F minor rather typically has an E natural in it. That's the harmonic minor. You're not going to see any E naturals in this. So this is really kind of in more actually in keeping with. If I had it, well, it's not really a Dorian mode, is it? Because there's no D naturals, but that's sort of the sound. A flat major. Those are the diatonic triads. Oh, excuse me, played the wrong chord there. 1 A flat major, 2 B flat minor, 3 C minor, 4 D flat major, 5 E flat major, 6 F minor, 7 G diminished, which is the top part of the 5/7 chord, and then A flat major. So if you start on F, F is the tonic, and they have F minor 7, G minor 7, A flat major 7. So if you can go up, those are the, if I make those triads into 7th chords, diatonic 7th chords. So I'm restricting myself to only notes in the key, right? But there's, in the key of A flat, that would be, F would be the 6th chord, but in F it's the 1 chord. F minor 7, F A flat, C E flat. 2 is G minor, G, B flat, D, F, and 3 is A flat major, A flat, C, E flat. So that's the beginning part of it, and the melody is this. Now, the tune is in 3/4. It's a jazz waltz, and I'll get into that in a moment. No, I won't get into a moment. I'll talk about it right now because really, what's the most important? Let's just take a moment here and just say, what's the most important aspect of a song? What makes a song a song? Well, I said it was, the form of the tune. But actually, let's just step back for a second, even before that. What's the very basic thing you have to have? Well, I suppose silence, because silence is the musician's canvas. If you don't have silence, you can't have sound, because then you wouldn't be able to hear what you're doing. But after that, you have a steady beat, right? And then after the steady beat, you have a meter. So you're to measure an effect, right? You're emphasizing those beats periodically, which again gives it some kind of structure. And in this instance, if it's in a meter of 3, you're emphasizing that beat as a general rule every 3 counts: loud, soft, soft, 1, 2, 3. Now you can emphasize that beat in different ways. You can emphasize count 2, really. Soft, loud, less, soft, loud, less. You could do that. 1, 2, 3. Or you could emphasize count 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I think of that as like a Viennese waltz, maybe. And then in jazz, you don't really quite do that. You have this sort of syncopation, 1 and 2 and 3, and you use the 8th note, right? Not just the quarter note. 1 and 2, and not just 1 and 2 and 3, and like those are even 8th notes, but jazz 8th notes that kind of like, you know, short, long, short, or long, short, long, however you want to think of it. But 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and so you emphasize the and of 1, 1 and 2 and 3, and count 3. And you can alter left, right, or 1 and 2 and 3 and left, right, left, right. That's what gives the tune its character. Okay, so they're just not dull chords that are just blah, 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 just sitting there, and that's something you can work on separate from the melody. In fact, if you're going to take apart a tune, I think the best way to take it apart first is with the bass line. And this is true whether you have music or if you're learning by ear. Especially if you're learning by ear, the very first thing you want to do is determine the bass line in the song. And these days it's even easier because you have the songs on YouTube, digital means to play back songs, so you can play them back at a slower tempo without changing the pitch, which is, you know, really cool. So let's go back here for a second and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and that would be the pattern here. And the melody is 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. That's the first 8 bars of the song, and together it would sound like this: 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. So that G chord is syncopated on on count 3, on the 3rd bar rather. Okay, then the second half of the song is E flat major, and then D flat, E flat, and then F minor. Now in the book they have F minor 7. I don't really think F minor 7 would sound quite appropriate, frankly. I think a basic triad would, because this is supposed to sound like a kind of a Spanish flamenco cadence, like a, you know, and if you were to resolve it, that would be the 5, right? Kind of a typical. Now there's where you get the E natural I was talking about. It doesn't occur in this song, actually. So the second half of the tune, the melody is. And then it does it again. And then the melody changes slightly. That's a suspension. So the E flat changes ever so slightly. And that's the whole tune. So the feeling is like this. I'm playing higher on the piano, so because down here might be a little low. It's a little bit low right now, just to hear the melody. And that's the whole tune. Now, if I were to use other voicings on the piano, like we're using our shell voicings, so we can take these notes and bring them up here, that makes the keyboard sound a bit better. And that's a different voicing there. I might actually, use combinations of voicing. That's a shell voicing. This happens to be a chordal voicing. And then I might go back, potentially. That's a shell voicing. Since this is the tonic, I don't really want to play a 7 chord. I can also play octaves. See, these shell voicings lend themselves to that lilt, that jazz waltz. Outer notes and then the inner notes. Right? So it's 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 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 1 and 2 and 3. Now I don't have to do it all the time, right? The first measure I don't have to do it at all. It's better to do it in the second measure because the next note is long, right? So you need a little something to keep your interest. And that's the tune. Now, in terms of improvising, well, that's a whole nother subject. You start by embellishing. But that's the first tune that I'll kind of share with you. Let's come up to the second tune, All Blues. So that's a Miles Davis tune. And the thing that makes this tune interesting is really not so much the melody, it's more like the bass line. The bass line is really the interesting part of the tune. The bass line is this. And that's the whole thing. Now, that tune, while you might think it's in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's really not. It's in 6. It's in the meter of 6. Now, why is that? Well, because the musical phrase really needs a full 6 counts to resolve, and it's not simply a matter of just the accent alone. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1. And if you notice, I'm kind of holding down this note with my pinky because I just happen to like that, because it gives me some added sound. If I let go of it, it just sounds a bit naked. So 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 1. Now the right hand has a cool little hook to it, kind of a blues hook. Very often we hear, this is a G7 chord, and we hear these blues hooks. They're more like kind of like rock and roll. G major, C major in second inversion, G7 without the third. That kind of sounds a little bit hokey. But the way we play it typically is not with the G, it's with the F, stepping up. A little bit more modal. It gives it this, that's a Mixolydian sound. That's a major scale with a flatted seventh. And when you combine it with the left hand, the melody itself, there's really nothing to write home about. It's just B, B, C, B, B, C, B. That's a close approximation of it. Now, the chord changes to C, C7, right? That's the pattern. If I were to continue the pattern, that's C7. And it has kind of a cool sound. That's an 11 and a ninth. That's a C chord, kind of a C6. And that is a C7 with, there's your 13 and a ninth and 11. It goes back. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8. I think I messed up the counting. Let me do the counting again. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3. Now look at that, I'm counting in 3. I already told you this is in 6, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 2, 3, 10, 6, 10, 2, 3, 11, 12, and there's your 12 bars. I kind of flubbed a little bit at the end there counting. Even for me, it's a little tricky to count and keep track of this all at once. I do it so innately, you know, when you start thinking about it. But the melody, now just that coordination can be a little difficult. That's the whole form. So that little ending part, when it gets to the D, go D, D7, 4, E flat 7, and that's a split measure. So by split measure, I mean there's 3 counts on the E flat and then 3 counts on the D. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the way those chords are voiced, if you weren't playing the melody, typically you'd voice the chord like this. So that's D7 sharp 9. That's actually an E sharp as the sharp 9. And that would be considered an F sharp, E flat 7, sharp 9. And Sometimes you hear that too. That's sharp 9, sharp 5. This is the sharp 5. So with, out, and with. This chord by itself, you know, this voicing, this is one of our rootless voicings we talk about. This is A flat 7 with an added 13. It's a tritone away from D. And so it's a little trick that I remember. If I want a sharp 9 chord, if I wanted a D sharp 9 chord, I play an A flat chord, tritone away, and I use a particular voicing. I just don't play A flat 7, although that sounds, and that's not a bad sounding chord. It's not the chord I want. It's a flat 9 chord, but flat, that would be considered flat 9, flat 5 if you play it in the root position, which I don't hear very often. But this chord, that's the sound we want there. And sometimes I'll slide on the note, on the blues note. I'll do that. I'll play these two notes together. I'll kind of crush them together, and then I'll lift up my finger. So I'll play. You know, I might even do like you could slide. That's a different sound than if you play them both at the same time and lift. I almost prefer that. And it gives the chord a little bit of bite. Now, I don't know if I do it on every one. So just those little details. So there's another easier tune to learn in the Realbook. I don't know if we're going to get. I don't think I'm going to get to all these tunes today, but we'll try to get to as many as possible. You know what? Boy, you know, I never seem to have enough time. There's the list, though. You could go through the Realbook and look up those tunes, and you know, those are good ones to start with. So anyway, nice to see you guys again, although not, so to speak. And big hello, of course, to my buddy Francesco out there in sunny Italy. And we'll see you next time. This is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. And if you need any instruction, you can visit me at thepianolesson.com and send me a line. Bye-bye.